President, please be seated. The court is now in session. For this afternoon session, the Chamber will hear testimony of TCW 504. Before calling on the witness to be brought to this court, the Chamber would like to informs the parties and the public that during the closed sessions this morning, the Chamber has heard arguments from Defense Counsel for Nuon Chea concerning witness TCW 504 and other arguments concerning the admissibility of document E187.1. The Chamber decides that this document is admissible. Now, court officer is instructed to bring in witness TCW 504 into this courtroom. Good afternoon, witness. Can you hear me okay? Yes, I can, says the witness. The President, witness, please wait before you answer any questions that are asked to you. Please wait until your mic has been activated. That will mean that the mic is working so that you can be heard by anyone in this courtroom, especially by the interpreting team from Khmer to either English or French. These are the three working languages at this court. Do you understand it? Witness, yes, I do. The President, what is your name, witness? Witness, my name is Bien Kieng. President, do you have any other names besides Bien Kieng? Witness, no, I do not. This is my only name. President, how old are you, Mr. Bien Kieng? Witness, I am 62 years old. This year I am 62 years old. Question. What is your current address? Please wait, Mr. Witness, wait until your mic is activated. Witness. Presently, I am living in Ramon village, Antron Commune, Samraung District, Takao Province. President, what is your job? Witness, I am a carpenter. I also do the farming. The President, what is your father's name? Witness, my father's name is Bien. President, and your name? Rather, your mother's name? And again, please wait until you see the red light on your mic before you answer. What is your mother's name? Witness, my mother's name is Kay. President, how many children do you have? Witness. President, Mr. Pinkin, how many children do you have? Witness, I have 3 children. The President, what is your original nationality? Witness, my nationality is Gawad. President, do you know Khmer language clearly? How much do you know about Khmer language? Witness, I can write some Khmer, I can read some Khmer, but I am not very good at Khmer language. The President, thank you. Mr. Pien Kien, from the report of the graphier this morning, to the best of your knowledge, you do not have parents, wife, or relatives who have been admitted as civil parties to these proceedings, and you are not connected or affiliated to either Mr. Insari, Mr. Kirsampon, or Mr. Nuon Chea. Is this correct? Witness, yes, it is. The President, thank you. The report also says that you have already taken an oath before you come here. Is this correct? Witness, yes, it is. The President, now the Chamber would like to remind you of your duty and your rights as a witness. Mr. Pien Kien, in your capacity as a witness to this proceeding before this Chamber, you are entitled to refrain from answering any questions that might lead to self-incrimination. This is your right against self-incrimination, which means that because of your answers, you may be prosecuted. Have you ever been informed of this right by the Wetsuit? Witness. Yes, I have. I have been informed of this right. The President. You are here to give testimony before this chamber, and according to Internal Rule 28.9, in order to safeguard the possibilities that you can self-incriminate, the chamber may provide you a duty counsel who could advise you on this matter, that is to assist you not to give any answer to the questions that may lead to self-incrimination. Now we want to know whether you require a duty counsel when you are to give testimony before this court. Witness. Yes, I do, Your Honors. The President, thank you. Now the chamber would like to inform you of your duty as well. In your capacity as a witness, you are obliged to give testimonies to this courtroom, that is to answers to questions put to you by parties, except when those questions require your answers that lead to self-incrimination. You are to provide only true information on the basis of what you know, you hear, or you remembered, or witnessed. These are your duties in your capacity as a witness. Court officer is now instructed, as required by the witness himself, to invite the duty counsel for this witness into this courtroom and bring him to sit beside the witness. The President, once again, counsel, can you tell us of your name? Duty counsel. Good afternoon, Mr. President. Good afternoon, Your Honors. My name is Mom Rathia. My ID number is 619. President, thank you, counsel. As prepared by Wesu, Mr. Witness, you are now provided with a duty counsel. During the hearing of this witness testimonies, the chamber would like to inform the prosecution that the floor is first handed to the prosecution before any other parties. Prosecutors are also reminded that the time given to you together with the civil party lead co-lawyers, is this whole afternoon session and tomorrow the first half and the first half of tomorrow morning session. So the floor is now yours, Mr. Co-Prosecutor. Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, Mr. Pian Khin. I am from the Office of the Co-Prosecutor, and my name is Wayne Hood. Mr. Pian Khin, do you hear me? Witness. Yes, I do. Prosecutor. Right. My first question will be about before 17 April 1975. My questions concerned the revolution movements, various offices, and the policies of democratic Cambodia. I want to know when you joined your revolution. Witness. I joined the Khmer Rouge revolution. The President interrupts. Yes, Defense Counsel for Mr. Nunjie, you may proceed.
I'm sorry to interrupt. It appears that the witness is reading from a document. Does everybody see that? It seems to me the witness has a document in his hand, and he's not reading from it. He's studying it. Is that his statement? What is that document?
The President, the co-prosecutor may continue. A court officer is instructed to tell the witness not to read any documents. He can read documents when the chamber decides that a particular document is for him to read. The President, you may proceed, Mr. Co-Prosecutor. The defense was not rejecting the question on the basis that the question was a leading question. Please be reminded that the witness is not of the Khmer nationality. His nationality is Quake. Mr. Co-Prosecutor, thank you. Mr. President, thank you, Defense Counsel. As you are aware that my time is limited, as indicated by Mr. President, that is why I am going into this issue very quickly. Now, I put to you again, Mr. Witness, my question is when you joined the revolution. Witness, I joined the revolution in 1966. It was in Malik Commune, Andong Miet District, Ratanakiri Province. Prosecutor, thank you. My other question is, could you please describe the procedure for you to join the revolution? Do you understand my questions? The procedure, I'm talking about the procedure for you to join the revolution. If you do not understand my question, please ask me to elaborate on this and I will assist you with that. Witness, I do not really understand the questions. Co-prosecutor, I will elaborate the question and I seek forgiveness from defense counsel. Please tolerate us. My question is, how old were you when you joined the revolution? Witness, I joined the revolution when I was probably 16 years old. Co-prosecutor, thank you. Who introduced you into this revolution? Witness. There were Pong, Thuat, who was the chairman of the Office of the Messengers in the Northeast Zone. Prosecutor, were you told about the purpose of joining the revolution? Witness, I was told that we joined the revolution in order to liberate the nation from the capitalists, from the feudalists. That is to escape from the oppression of these people, the oppressions over the farmers. Question. When you first joined the revolution, were you told to write biography? Witness, I was asked to write my biography mentioning my place of birth, my parents' name and my class. A question. After you joined the revolution, were there any criticism or self-criticism meetings? Answer. Criticism and self-criticism meetings were held in the evening, but it depends. Question. What were you told to do after you joined the revolution led by the Khmer Rouge leaders? Answer. My duty was to deliver letters. I was a messenger. I delivered letters from one base to another base, from Ndong Mia to Wern Sai, from Wern Sai to Ndong Mia. Question. Thank you. You were a messenger for whom? Answer. At the time, I was told that I was a messenger of the revolutionary Angka. Question. Did you know the most senior chairman, the ones that you thought was the Angka? Answer. I did not know them. I only heard from the subordinates. Question. What did they tell you concerning the names of the leaders? Answer. I was not told about the names of the leader. I was told about Angka, but I did not ask them further what Angka was.
Question. I think I need to go back a little bit. Just now you said you were a messenger and that you delivered letters. Could you tell the court whether you knew anything about the content of those letters? Response. I didn't know anything about the letters, what inside the letters, because the letters would be placed in a bamboo tube, and no one could be allowed to open them other than the intended recipients. Question. As a messenger, and that you did not know what or who Angka was, how were you supposed to send the letters to, or who were actually the intended recipients of the letters? Response. There were places prepared to receive letters, and I had to go to one place. For example, I would deliver the letter to Andong Mir location, and people would pick up from Andong Mir to Vernsai and vice versa. Question. Do you know the person by the name Koi Thuan? Response. I know this person, and I used to live with him. Question. What did Koi Thuan do? Response. I did not know who he was, but I know Koi Thuan was one of the leaders. At what level his role and responsibility could have been, I didn't know. Question. As the messenger, apart from delivering letters, had you ever delivered foodstuff to Koi Thuan? Response. I once brought some food, a chicken, through Pang to him. Question. Could you describe the situation Koi Thuan was in at that time? The President, Mr. National Co-Prosecutor, could you please be advised to be precise on the exact date concerning the facts? Please indicate clearly the exact date when this happened. Otherwise, we will be misled by the statement by both the witness, because you were putting questions concerning the facts before 1970 in Mandolkiri, and we don't know in which part of the date we are now. Counsel for Khieu Sampon, you may proceed. Counsel Kung Samon. Thank you, Mr. President. The prosecutor used some names that are not consistent because prosecutor used the name Koi Thun when the witness responded with Koi Kun. So there should be some clarification on this. The President, Co-Prosecutor, you may now proceed. Co-Prosecutor, thank you, Counsel. I would like to seek a clarification from the witness. Witness, we have the name Koi Thun and Koi Kun. Since you are from a tribal ethnic minority group, were you saying Koi Thun or Koi Kun? Response. The person I was referring to, not Koi Thun, it was Koi Kun with the K-H-U-O-N. Question. Thank you, witness. You said you brought rice to foodstuff to Koi Kun. Is that correct? Not Koi Thun. Then I would proceed to another question. Where were you between 1966 to 1975? 1966 to 1975. Response. In 1966, I was in Ratanakiri. By 1970, I went to Kampong Thom. Question. What did you do back then? Response. I was with Koi Kun, working as a messenger that they called back then. Now this position is known as the bodyguard. I was with his wife. I would deliver food to him and also escorted him places when he went. Thank you. Question. Do you know who were the secretary of Zone 304 between 1966 and 1975? Response. Only until 1975 did I know that Koi Kun was the secretary of Zone 304. Question. In 1966, or from 1966 to 1975, Had you ever met or heard the person by the name Pol Pot, Nuon Chea, Ieng Sari, or Khieu Samphan? Please respond to my question. Response. At that time, I heard of Pol Pot alone. Back then, he was not called Pol Pot, but I don't remember his secret name. That was the only person I remembered having heard of. But by 1975, I started to know other names. Question, were you referring to the names of the people I just mentioned in my question? Could you please wait until the mic is activated before you respond? Question, the names I mentioned to you, Pol Pot, Nuon Chea, Ieng Sari, Khieu Samphan, were you referring to the names of those people you just learned at a later date? Response, yes. Question, were you aware of their activities? As a messenger, what could you tell us about your knowledge of their activities? Response. As the messenger, I knew very little. As I indicated, I did not even have any access to any documents. Even the letters were placed in the bamboo tubes, and I could never read them. Question. According to your best recollection, at which offices were these people working? Response. After Phnom Penh was liberated, I recall K1, K3, and K7. K7 was at the riverfront. K3 and K1 were at the riverfront to the south of the Independence Monument. That's all I remember. Question, have you ever heard anything about Office 100? Response, no, I haven't. Thank you. Question, do you know Kain, alias Lin? Response, I know this person very well. Question, when did you get to know him? Response, I started to know him very well after the liberation of Phnom Penh at K1. Question. Before 1975, did you know Pang? Response. Pang was the person I knew first, before others. Question. What was your relationship with Pang? Response. I had no connection to Pang, but Pang was the superior or supervisor of the messengers, and he was the one who oversaw the affairs, and he was in charge of these affairs. Thank you. Question. Earlier on, you said you had never heard anything about Office 100. My question is, do you know Office 102? Response. I never heard anything about Office 102 either. Thank you. Question. You said you knew K1 and K5 and K7. How did you know these officers? Response. K1 was a place where Pol Pot would stay. K3 was a joint office where Pol Pot, Ham or Khieu Samphan, Ieng Sari and Son Sen worked. K7 was told to me that K7 was a place that I did never know what it was functioning. Question. Did you know anything about K5? Response. No, I didn't. I only knew K1, K3 and K7. Question. Have you ever heard the office K71? Response. I have heard of it, but I don't know much about it. Question. Before Phnom Penh collapsed in 1975, where were the leaders? Response. I don't know, because I had never heard or seen any of them. I heard that Pol Pot was in Ratanakiri, and later on I heard he was coming to Kampong Cham and Kampong Thom. That's all I know. I don't know any other persons. Question. Are you aware of Office B5? Response. No, I'm not. Question. I would like to proceed to another question concerning the living condition of the people during 1966 through 1975. Could you describe to the court concerning the living condition of the people under Khmer Rouge control? Response. I cannot tell you about this because I had never been living in the base with the people. I spent my entire time in the jungle. Question. When you were in the jungle, had you had any opportunities to visit your families or your hometown? Response. No, I could not go anywhere other than being confined to the location where I supposed to carry out my tasks. I never managed to come visit my home. I was not allowed. Question. And later on, how did you know how people lived their life? Response. When the Vietnamese came, I had already left Phnom Penh, and I heard from people who told me about the living condition, the situation that I had never been aware of. Question. As a boy, a 16-year-old boy who was tasked with the messenger duty, when you would like to go home to visit your parent, did you ask for permission? And if you did, were you allowed to do so? Response. I used to ask for permission to visit my parents, but I was not allowed. Question. If young people at your age, for example, could manage to visit their home, what could have been the measure taken against those people? Response. According to my understanding, people of my age could never get away without being punished if they were found to have visited home without permission. Question. Are you talking about people being afraid, or Angka had some kind of intimidating influence? Response. I was saying that what happened in the jungle, no one could be of any assistance. It would be part of our karma. Question. Do you think that back then people could follow their religious belief or listen to the Buddhist sermon? Response. At the beginning, everyone of any ethnic minority could practice their own respective religion. They could practice it without abandoning it. Question. Did you ever notice that people could go to pagodas by way of saying that they could not abandon their religion? Thank you. I would like to move on to another question. Back then in the regime, had you ever seen monks in pagodas? Response. Before Phnom Penh was liberated, there were normal pagodas and activities. There were monks, there were pagodas. People would go there and pay homage to the monks at those pagodas before 1975. Question. What happened after 1975? Response. After 1975, such practice were in no existence. There were no pagodas. Pagodas were removed and there were no priests. Question. Do you know where monks were taken to? Response. I don't know, but I heard people saying that monks were defrocked or disrobed. Question. I would like now to proceed to the policy of the CPK. My next question is, how did the Khmer Rouge treat an individual Lon Nol? Was he treated as an enemy to the revolution? Response: yes, indeed, Lon Nol himself was treated as an enemy of the revolution, including his soldiers. Thank you. I would like to ask you a little bit concerning the authority, the suppressing of the authority of the suppressor. Is this term referred to Lon Nol himself or to the officers or officials of the Lon Nol regime?
That refers to the monarchy, the regime, rather the government officers. Question. I would like to ask for confirmation, and if I am wrong, please correct me. So the Communist Party of Cambodia referred soldiers, government officers of the Lon Nol regime as the oppressors. Is this correct? Answer. Yes, it is. Question. Thank you. I now ask you further questions. If a person was considered a soldier, rather a soldier of the Lon Nol regime, a government officer of a Lon Nol regime, was considered as the oppressor, what would happen to him or her once he or she was arrested? Answer. Because they were considered enemies, if they were arrested, they were to be smashed. Thank you. In your capacity as a messenger, what did Angkar train you after you joined the Communist Party? Answer. I do not understand the question. Question. Thank you. Now I ask you again. After you joined the Communist Party, did the party train you anything? Answer. I was taught to join the movements to be part of the national liberation. That was to liberate the nation from the oppressor's class, to free the peasants. That was what I was explained.
ពេលនោះលោកទៅ
Question. Did you frequently go to study with others? Can you explain this? Was it done weekly, or how frequent was your study session? Answer. It was explained in the evening meeting.
អ្នកណាអ្នកមកបង្រៀនលោក
Question. Who taught you at that time? Answer. It was from the standing committee. His name was Bong. Question. During the study session, were you given any documents or any books? Answer. During such ordinary meeting, we were not provided with any materials. Question. Did you ever hear of the revolutionary flag or the youth revolution, rather the revolutionary youth? Have you ever heard of these? Answer. I have heard of the revolutionary flag. I have seen it too. Question. Thank you.
ឥឡូវនេះខ្ញុំចូលឲ្យគៀកគឺការចូលមកដល់ឆ្នាំ
Now I move on to talk about the period of 1975. In early 1975, before the victory of the Khmer Rouge, where were you? Answer. My location at that time was not in one place. Sometimes I was in Shandong district, but at other times I traveled from place to place. It was nearly in 1976 when I came to live in somewhere called Domna Somdai or Smaj, and I was close to Koi Khun. Concerning Koi Khun or Koi Thun, I want to know who appointed you a messenger of Koi Thun. Answer. It was Bong who appointed me to be with Koi Thun. Bong introduced me. Question. In 1975, as a messenger, what were you responsible for? Answer. Before 1975, I was not responsible for anything, but later on, I came to live with Koi Kun's wife, and my tasks was to accompany her whenever
ឥឡូវសំណួរ
she traveled.
ពាក្យហើយគឺថាមុនខែមេសា
Question. My question moved towards 1975. That is before April 1975. Mr. President, I am mindful of the break time. I'm not sure whether I should continue or we should take a break. The President. It is the President's job to control the time and the time to the break. Why party keep reminding the President of this? The President continues. Now it is appropriate for us to break. We will take a 20-minute break and we'll resume at 3 o'clock. The court officer is instructed to accommodate a witness and to return him to this courtroom along with his duty counsel by 3 o'clock.
សូមចេញក្រោកឈរ